In this video, I will give you a step-by-step overview how to sell your real estate business or brokerage. Now, the first thing is we have to determine, what are you selling? Are you selling a full-on brokerage or agency? Are you selling your property management company? Are you a retiring agent that's simply selling your book of business? Now, the process is largely the same, but there are distinguishing factors depending on the type of business that you're selling. So we'll go through this guide and it'll give you an idea of what that process looks like. So first things first, you'll want to determine your timeline and ask yourself how soon you want to see the sale and the transition, because you may participate in a transition that obligates you to stay on after the sale. So it's very clear from the outset that there's a need to determine how long you're willing to continue with the company. And to put it bluntly, I'd say, do you want out now? Do you want to walk away? Or do you want to participate in a transition and possibly stay on for months to even years? All right, now, you'll need a team to do this. And that sounds a little bit bigger than it is, because it's not like you need to hire on some huge team. I'd suggest working with a broker like us, like our company, and we can facilitate the sale. But even if you have a team, even if you're working with a broker, or even if you want to have a go at it yourself and simply draft your own documents because you feel proficient and you feel like you don't need any help doing it. Even then, when you have a draft for the purchase agreement, you'll want to run it by an attorney. I recently was in a position of buying business, and even though we already had everything drafted and I've participated in thousands of transactions over the years, I still wanted an attorney to look at the contract I had drafted just in case he sees something that I didn't see. You'll also likely want to talk to a tax professional about the tax implications, because an installment sale may be more beneficial tax-wise than just taking a lump sum for selling your business. So when I say assemble a team, it's a matter of utilizing certain professionals around you to make sure that you're doing the transaction in a sound manner. You'll need to prepare your financials. That means making sure your books are current and up to date. And if you have QuickBooks, or even if you just track your expenditures on a spreadsheet, make sure that they are current. And that's a simple solution, and we can help you with that. Everything I'm talking about here, we can help you with. But even if you're going at this alone, any buyer is going to want to see a P&L or even a tax return or a balance sheet. So knowing that a buyer is going to come in asking about your production numbers and asking for evidence of those numbers, you need to have your financials in order so they can undergo the scrutiny of a potential buyer. Now, you'll also need to assess your business's value, and that ties into what type of business you are selling. Is it a real estate brokerage? Is it a property management company? Are you selling your book of business? Now, I had my company valued, was a few years back maybe, and they used a multiple. And when I look at the value of real estate companies, from huge ones to small ones, I think that assigning a multiple is highly questionable, because there are so many components that go into the value of your real estate company. And there are buyers that may want to add on affiliate services that makes your business more valuable to them. And then there are buyers that are simply going to manage the business that you have, and they have to take on a risk knowing that agents can just get up and leave if the transition isn't done smoothly. So each business's value, I think, should be assessed on a case-by-case basis. So that's something where, if you are interested in knowing your business's value, to visit rebizsales.com and just submit a request for a free valuation, and we can talk further about valuing your real estate business. Now, like I said, you want to get your financials all current and up to date. But if there are other issues, any sort of claims, whether it's ethics claims with the board, whether it's a lawsuit, whether you're participating in some sort of dispute, you'll want to make sure that as much of your business is in order as possible, and you're not dealing with any outstanding issues. So tidy it up on paper, and if you have a physical location, tidy it up there too. Again, you're putting, just like when you sell properties, you want everything to be in order. You don't want anything outstanding. You don't want outstanding issues or a battle with an HOA. You want or violations with the city or county. You want everything as seamless and orderly as possible. Now, after we've done the valuation, you should have a price in mind. And then we're going to market it. We're going to market it to a pool of buyers, potential buyers. These are other people in the real estate industry that may be interested in your particular business. We can also market your real estate company on business brokerage websites as well. So it's a matter of taking that valuation price that we've discussed and combining it with a marketing plan to get as much exposure for your real estate company as possible. Now, buyers, when they're interested, they're going to ask for more information, and we need to have them sign a non-disclosure agreement, a confidentiality agreement, to keep as much about your business to protect your private matters until a buyer has a legitimate offer and is doing their due diligence. But we need to anonymize parts of the process in the beginning for your protection. And it's simply a matter of screening buyers. We need to find out how qualified the buyer is before they get too deep into your personal and private matters as it pertains to the business, of course. And that's done by screening potential buyers. Once that initial screening has been done and there's been a successful conversation between you and the potential buyer, and it looks to be a potential fit, that's when we ask the parties to negotiate and finalize terms on a purchase agreement to actually enter in contract. Now, just like in a real estate sale, the buyer is going to have a due diligence period, and that's when you having all of your financials in order is going to make this due diligence smooth and easy for the buyer so that they know what they're getting into and they can proceed with taking over your business. And that's going to be done for a certain period of time. You could say 30 days, for example, in a 60-day escrow. That would be a reasonable time frame. But of course, it depends on how soon you're able to furnish any sort of documents or items needed to disclose to the buyer or upon the buyer's request. Then we move into closing once that's done. Now, of course, closing could be delayed depending on whether or not the buyer is getting financing, whether or not you're doing an installment sale, whether you're carrying back some of that, the purchase price. But either way, at the end of it, you're going to reach closing, and that's when the transition is going to begin. Because even if you as a seller are walking away upon closing, there needs to be a period, albeit a short one. And of course, this is negotiated with the buyer, because in theory, you could, as a seller, could stay on for 2 or 3 years. But even if you are leaving right away, there needs to be a certain level of availability that should be made to the buyer in case something comes up shortly after the closing. And that's the transition. The transition could be short and just a matter of some hours that you have dedicated as a seller to helping the buyer or taking calls or whatever it may be, or it could be long and ongoing if you stay on payroll as a staff member or as a designated broker, whatever the arrangement is. But you'll want to oversee that transition and make sure it goes smoothly. And that's a general overview of selling your real estate business. Please feel welcome to comment in this video, or you're welcome to visit rebizsales.com. Thanks for watching.